Another thing here I'm going to end on too is if you ever see an ad where somebody says guaranteed or safe, right? As in you cannot lose, you should run for the hills. And the reason being on that is because there are only 3 places that you can ever say somebody's money is guaranteed and safe. Number 1, that is if you invest directly with the government by buying treasury notes, right? Because you're investing with the government. And I don't want to hear it. Look, at the end of the day, the government's not going to default on a loan like that. They just don't. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Truly Diversified. I'm your host, Ben Mohr. Today is going to be a little bit of a rant today because I've just noticed a lot of things on social media, and I want to make sure that it's kind of a buyer beware episode here for you. Now, as you know here, we preach about alternative investments. We've had people on here from different walks of life dealing with alternative investments. If you're not familiar with what that is, it's a way to make money outside the market or kind of traditional means of what you're normally presented, say, at your work with a 401k. As you probably know, if you go back to previous episodes, you know that we deal directly here with our company with life settlements. That is where you are able to purchase a person's life insurance policy who might be 80 years old and get a portion of their returns when they pass away. And you can go to lifeassetllc.com for more information to learn on that. Well, what I've noticed recently is a lot of things on social media have caught my eye that have kind of entered the, what I'll say, and you know, we're on podcast here, but on YouTube, I'm using air quotes, other people entering the alternative asset investment space in the last 6 months that have just been eye-popping, amazingly. I just can't believe that they're even on social media making the claims that they do. You know, we work with companies that have a proven track record that go back, you know, almost a decade where they can show you they have great returns. And I see here a lot of people just making claims that are so ridiculous that there's no way they could be true. 3 spaces that I'm seeing a lot of this right now is, you know, these ads on social media, mainly, you know, through Meta, like on Instagram. Sometimes you see it through Google, on YouTube, but mainly as you're scrolling through your, you know, Instagram feed, you will come across these, you know, offers that are just so insanely ridiculous. Right now, I'm seeing a lot of stuff with trading platforms and crypto that are saying that they can make you 4 to 7 to 10% a month, folks, a month. Come on. Now, if you're making 7% a month, that's 84% return on your money in a year. And then they'll say that they have proven records and, you know, they have a track record that is beyond reproach and they have the system and all these things. But what's funny is when you click on the link to get more information about the company that's made these amazing returns, all you are then put to is an area to capture your information to get you into a meeting. So I went on these things and did this, but I know how to do research. So first off, I had to go in there and you couldn't find anything within the ad that told you how long this company has been around. So I started Googling around, researching, find this company, finally get on their website, and guess what? Same thing. All it is telling you about how wonderful they are, their returns, how amazing they are. Doesn't tell you anything about how long they've been in business. Remember now, they had a proven track record, To me, a proven track record means what? 5 years, 10 years, 15, 20 years, proven track record, okay? Finally, what I was able to do is find out where this company or these companies, I've done it at least a dozen times on these companies making these just ridiculous claims, is I was able to go and find out what state they're in and then pull up their corporate documents. You can do that by going to any, like in California, you can go to the Secretary of State's website, type in a company, and see how long they've been around. Well, one of these companies was offering literally 4 to 7% monthly returns, like safety, and we'll talk about that in a second. You know, all these things that are just no-nos in the business to say about anything that involves investment is at the end of the day, I was able to go in and look at their LLC documents, and guess how long this company had been in business? 2025. April 2025. Proven track record. They've been around for a few months. So come on, like, you have to do your research with these companies. Another one I saw that was hilarious was it was a real estate fund talking about 40 years proven track record. And I'm thinking, right? And they're saying they can make you like 20, 25% annual return, which I'm like, okay, that's insane. I don't know how they've been able to do that for 40 years. And why would you even be advertising on social media? You would have people lining up your door with a 40-year proven track record of making 20, 25% returns. Okay. So it said 40 years proven track record. I look at it. I go to their website. The guy who runs the company looks like he just went to the high school prom. There's no way this guy's older than 30 years old. He might be 25. Okay. So how can a guy who's 25 who founded the company have a 40-year proven track record? Okay. Well, I went down and did some research and found out that the vice president of the company is his daddy. And his daddy's been a realtor for 40 years. Think about how dishonest this is. They're saying their fund has a 40-year proven track record, all because a guy got a real estate license 40 years, and he doesn't even run the company. So this is daddy helping son fund a company, and they're making claims that are complete BS, right? So there's a 40-year proven track record that the dad has had an insurance or a real estate license. Whoop-de-doo, okay? It's not that hard to get a real estate license, folks, okay? It really isn't. I mean, I'm not bagging anyone who has a real estate or an insurance license. You can get them. You don't have to have high education. You don't have to be the smartest guy in the room. There's a reason that people get those licenses because they're pretty easy to obtain. So just because a guy has a license for 40 years in real estate means diddly. And for them to then tell you that they have a 40-year track record of making 25% is insane. Again, guess what? I go to their corporate docs, I look at it. The company was established in 2024. So completely dishonest, right? The third one I've seen is a ton of these guys in oil and gas, and I don't know what playbook they came from, but if you understand oil and gas, what you're doing a lot of times is you're giving these companies money to go dig for oil, okay? It's very speculative. It can be very profitable, but I'm going to tell you this. I've dealt with thousands and thousands of clients, and by far the biggest loser investment, scam-wise, I've ever ran into is oil and gas, right? I don't know any of my clients who have made good money in oil and gas. None. I don't have one. I have plenty of clients who got completely ripped off by scams in oil and gas, or just completely tapped out. No pun intended on the oil. Nothing ever happened. I actually had a client one time who was telling me he was going to make all this money. And he literally, because the company sent him a baby food jar filled with oil. And I'm thinking they could have gone down to the local AutoZone and filled it up with, Pennzoil. It's so scammy. But what's hilarious about these guys is they think they want to have this kind of lowbrow because it's Texas, good old boy stuff. These guys look like your local truck driver. Nothing against truck drivers, but they look like a truck driver, unshaven, baseball cap on. This one guy has one where he's got a kind of white dress shirt that's completely wrinkled, and he's out on the swamp doing his fishing off the boat in flip-flops with his sunglasses and hat, talking about how much money he makes for everybody, and he's throwing F-bombs in this thing. It's unbelievable. I'm sitting there going, who would invest with this person? I mean, why would you want to invest with a guy who shows you, number one, he's not in the office even doing work. He's out on a boat fishing, and he's throwing F-bombs all day, and doesn't he have the decency to have a decent appearance? Doesn't take off sunglasses. It's a joke. These companies are a complete joke. And when I looked into them too, again, been in a business a couple of years. But they will tell you how well they've done for all their clients. How can you tell anybody how well you've done for your clients if you've been in business a couple of years? Stop gambling your retirement future on the stock market. I've helped many investors just like you make millions of dollars with double-digit returns without placing one single penny in the stock market. Look, this is a proven strategy that ultra-wealthy, savvy investors like Warren Buffett have used for decades to hedge against stock market risk. So if you're interested in learning how to make competitive returns without stock market risk in an investment that is not affected by politics, worldwide events, or economic woes, all you have to do is simply click on this link below to learn more. Look, when we were established and we did our business and we got into business, one of the things with any business will tell you that when you start, the biggest problem you have at the beginning is fundraising, because you really have to get the trust of your clients to believe that you're going to do what you plan to do. When you don't have a track record, that's just what you have to do. Every company has that. But we weren't going out there in our first few years telling people they were going to make gobs of money. We just showed them the structure of the life settlements to show them how they get paid. They get paid by some of the strongest companies in the world, and that it made sense, and that money is set aside over here and how it works, right? And that's how we started when we got people first coming in when I've been in this business. Well, we've had Barry Neal on this show. He is the CEO of Equilife, a company out of California. They've been in business almost 10 years now. Now, you may think that's not a huge track record, but for an alternative investment, that's a decent enough time to know if it's working. And they just had a payout, and we'll have him on an episode coming up where we're going to go over it. And we had him on an episode, a few weeks ago, where this is real. That we have the check showing the check that came in that they got paid out on the life insurance policy from the life insurance carrier for $3 million. And we have the checks going out to investors this week, where the lowest anybody made on that was 17% APR, and the highest was, I think, about 23% APR. Those are real numbers from a real company that has a track record, right? A company that has multiple payouts. This year alone, his company has 3 payouts, and the APRs on this case on average has been 20%. They had another one at 12.5 and another one at 10. Those are real numbers. There are real checks that they can show you where they have made decent returns without stock market risk. Not saying some BS like a 40-year proven track record because somebody's been in real estate for 40 years, but the fund's been around for a year and a half. That's a total lie. To say that you got a 10, 15-year track record on platform training and crypto is BS, making 4 to 5% or 10% a month. It's hilarious. And then oil and gas, these guys are out there just with their bravado, their John Wayne attitude, thinking like, look, I'm going to be this roughneck guy, and you should invest with me because I talk this way and I throw F-bombs, and I'm a good old boy drinking Budweiser. It's like, it's insane. I don't know how these companies get people to invest, but somehow they must be very good at taking money. That's what they're good at. They're not good at actually making people money. They're really good at telling people what they want to hear with these false promises. And I'm going to tell you, on almost all of these ads that I've seen, people are going to lose their shirt on these investments. The reason I do this is not to hate on these companies. It's that the alternative investment space has a lot of decent people and a lot of decent companies like where I work with that have getting people solid returns and doing good business. The problem is that it is a Wild West attitude out there where anybody can go ahead and throw up a company and make claims and then try to get money, and then they bail. So it's buyer beware here, folks. You got to do your homework. Ask how long the company's been in business. Make them show you the actual returns, right? Really do your homework. And that's what I ask people to do. For the companies I work with, not a problem. We'll show you everything. We'll show you that the policies are owned. We'll show you that the premium account reserves are put in place, that there's a third-party administrator, all of that, right? Show you what banks that we work with, that the money is there, and that it's solid, and that everything is lined up so that the client's money is placed where it's supposed to be. Another thing here I'm going to end on too is if you ever see an ad where somebody says guaranteed or safe, right? As in you cannot lose, you should run for the hills. And the reason being on that is because there are only 3 places that you can ever say somebody's money is guaranteed and safe. Number 1, That is if you invest directly with the government by buying treasury notes, right? Because you're investing with the government. And I don't want to hear it. Look, at the end of the day, the government's not going to default on a loan like that. They just don't, right? Number two, if you put money in CDs in the correct portion, right? You don't put too much money in a CD, but the bottom line is CDs because they're FDIC insured. Again, backed by the government, okay? So you can see it's got to have government, some type of government backing. And the third area is fixed annuities, not variable annuities, but fixed annuities have a coverage state by state, right? So in California, they have a group here that the state has that will cover losses up to about, I think it's right now currently about $100,000 on an annuity. So that's what it works, right? It's Guaranteed Health and Life Association Act, I believe it's called. Again, the Guaranteed Health and Life Association Act in California that will show you what your coverages are. So that's, again, those safeties are there. Treasury notes, CDs covered by backing from the federal government. And then if you buy certain insurance products like an annuity, it is backed by state, and every state has its own limitations. That's the only place you can say safety. The problem with safety, as you know, is it's going to come with two things. One, there's going to be a long-term surrender period, right? You can't touch that money because they need to know they need to make money off of that money. You can't just pull money in, pull money out. And then the final thing is, well, usually what comes with those long-term surrender times is usually not a very high rate of return, right? And that's how it works. If you want safety and guarantees, you can expect to not touch your money for a while and not to make a killing on it. You're going to basically just outpace inflation. That's why they're safe and guaranteed. That's why people are looking for alternatives like working with us, because the issue is they're not happy with just getting those lower returns. So again, if you're looking to get out of the stock market with some of your money because you don't like what's going on there, you find it too shaky, and at the same time, you don't want to go all the swing way over 180 degrees to the safe and guaranteed side, where you're dealing with CDs or some type of fixed annuity. That is exactly where we come in as an alternative investment company. And we work with people directly with a proven track record of what gets paid out. We can show you those payouts. As we mentioned, there was just a recent payout through a company in California we've worked with, where they are now paying people on average a 20% APR on the last case. And that is a company that has been around nearly a decade. Again, proven track record. So warning to you, you're probably getting flooded like I am with a lot of these social media advertisements for things that sound just too good to be true. And it is because they are, right? And they always say a fool and their money are soon parted. I can't agree more on this. Yes, I go ahead, look at these companies, hear what their plans are, but at the end of the day, do your research. Number one, if you go to their website and it doesn't say how long they've been around, you get their address, type in their information and their address in that state. You'll see their state docs will come up. You can see how long they've been incorporated. If these people tell you they've been in business for 10, 20 years, and you see that they just started their new fund 6 months ago, it shows you they're liars. And I'm going to say 9 out of 10 times you're going to find that there is no track record here. That's why they make these claims. And the bottom line is they're going to bring in the money and then probably just bail out, file BK, and walk away. And you don't want that to happen. And I've seen it happen to people in the past. So there's your word of warning today. That's my angry guy rant. Just be careful. Yes, look for good value on the internet, but at the same time, you don't know these people. Trust is not given, it is earned. And so that's what we do here. Again, if you want more information on our company, you can go to lifeassetllc.com. Once again, lifeassetllc.com. And we can help you find the right group to work with if you're looking at alternative space with life settlements. So that's kind of the rant of the day here on Truly Diversified. Again, I'm Ben Mohr, and we will talk to you next time.